Today, I want to talk about impact, specifically about impact and what impact really is and why it matters to you and just about everybody. I used to watch American Idol back in the early days when the show first started. I would watch and particularly loved watching the auditions. And I was struck for a long time in that I would watch an audition, and there were certain auditions where I would cry. I would actually, like, tears would flood, and it would feel almost embarrassing because I didn't actually know what I was crying about. I didn't know why it was that I was so moved. I wasn't and that was kind of like was baffling to me for a long time until I worked it out. See, I remember when John Lennon died. Yes, I'm that old. I remember when John Lennon died, and I remember feeling deeply sad. I didn't know John Lennon. John Lennon wasn't like a personal friend. So why was this so important? John Lennon had impacted me. It wasn't just with his music. It was who he was as a human being. It was his desire to have impact. It was his willingness to be a rebel. It was his willingness to stand up against what he felt was wrong. That for me was important, and it impacted me when he died. I was impacted again when Robin Williams died, because it wasn't just his comedy, although I found him incredibly funny. It was poignant, he was powerful, he'd had impact on my life, he made me look at things in a different way. Lennon's music did the same to me. So my point here is that we are moved by people who move us. We are moved by people who have impact on our lives. So the question becomes, are you having impact? And the truth of it is, what I want you to grasp is, whether you like it or not, whether you realize it or not, you are having impact. The question is, what is the quality of that impact? How much impact are you having, and what is the quality of it? How are you having the impact? And here's what I've noticed, that you're having impact. What I mean by that is that you're having influence on people. You're doing that, whether we call you, you might go, well, I'm not, Dove, because I'm not a CEO. I'm not one of those corporate leaders. I'm not a politician. I'm not. That's not what impact is. That's not even what leadership is. Those are titles. If you're a parent, if you're a friend, if you're a husband, if you're a wife, if you're a partner, whatever it is you are, I want you to consider that your being, by being here, is having impact. So this is why I'm bringing this up, because this is now a conscious choice about the kind of impact you're having. See, if you're having impact and influence by demonstrating being fearful and walking away and never really showing up anywhere and sort of hiding in the shadows, that's impact. But it may not be the best kind of impact. You may be capable of something far more capable. See, when I would watch American Idol, and I would be in tears about it as I would watch it, what was it? It took me a while to really, and I questioned and I journaled on it. Like, why am I so moved and so impacted by these young people? And it was this rawness, that they were so incredibly raw, that they were willing to put it all on the line, that they were willing to step into incredible levels of vulnerability to reveal themselves and potentially get just killed, to get just crushed by critics, whether those critics were right in front of them as the judges or the critics on TV. But they put it all on the line. There was this amazing raw vulnerability that's so powerful, so profound, that it moves us. Impact is about the influence and impact you have on others. But it's also about the impact you have on yourself. You see, if you leave this life and you realize that you get to your last day and you ask yourself the question, what was the impact I had? What lives did I change? And by that, I certainly mean that you did great stuff and that you, maybe you were a decent person, and maybe you did some charity work, or maybe you did whatever it was you did. But I'm actually talking about it at a far simpler level. Like, what is the difference you made by virtue of just being on the planet? You know, I hear a lot of talk about authenticity, but we don't really get what authenticity is. Authenticity in its truth is about being raw. And I'm not talking about being ignorant. I'm talking about being raw, like revealing yourself. We hear a lot about vulnerability and transparency, but listen, I want you to grasp that real impact can only be possible when you are not just authentic, because everybody's authentic. You've heard me say this before. Everybody's authentic in the best of what it is they know. You know, most people are not walking around trying to be fake. So authenticity is being not just real, but raw real, like being willing to put it all on the line like an American Idol contestant does. And when I look at the people who are doing epic things, who are being remarkable, here's what I notice. That remarkable people leave a mark because they were marked. I'll say that again. Remarkable people are leaving a mark because they were marked. Something happened, many things probably happened in that person's life, and they decided that they could no longer conform, that they could no longer just simply be good enough. And again, here's what's key about this. This is not competitive or compared to anyone else. It is ambitious, but it's not competitive, because it's just about measuring oneself against oneself, asking yourself, is this the best that I've got? Is this me really showing up? How am I censoring myself? How am I holding myself back? How am I trying to be what it is I think I'm supposed to be versus what it is that's absolutely true at every fiber of my being? What is it that I'm called to? What is the statements that you need to make? What is your philosophy? When we think about it, you're in this bio suit, this mortal coil called a body, and you will fade from existence. We have to live with our own mortality. Your life will end, and it may end far quicker than you imagine. And there may come that moment when you will have to ask yourself, what was the mark that I left? And to do that, to be that level of raw, you would actually have to ask yourself, what is my philosophy? Because you do have one. Is your philosophy to hide? Is your philosophy to not offend people, to get along with everybody? These are not bad things, but I don't know how much of a mark you will leave. I don't know how epic your life will be. I don't know the influence and impact that you're likely to have if you're so busy trying to conform, if you're so busy trying to get everybody to like you. And here's the thing, it's not possible. Some people won't like you because you're nice. You got to be willing to step out and make a difference. So when I talk about impact, this is why when I talk about impact, I talk so much about purpose and leadership and loyalty. You see, I don't know that you can have real positive impact. I'm certain you can have impact, but real positive impact, the kind of impact you want, if you don't discover your purpose. We all need to know why we're here. It's inherent within us that at some point in our life we go looking for the meaning of life. Why am I here? And in looking for why am I here, in looking at that part of yourself, you are bound, you're on the path, you're pulled on that heroic journey to find your purpose, to make a deeper inquiry into yourself, the heroic journey of looking within yourself to discover, okay, why am I here? What is my philosophy? So when you start finding your purpose, when you start looking into, well, what is my purpose? That in itself spawns the desire to have a philosophy around that, to know, well, if this is truly my purpose, how do I want to live? What is the philosophy how do I look at life? And it's from there, with purpose and philosophy, that you get to say, well, okay, if this is my purpose, if this is my philosophy, what is the impact I want to make? And immediately that is where you become a leader. Not by some title. That's where you become a leader. I'm inspired by people who are remarkable. Not because they do things that are, like amazing in the sense of that they climbed Everest. Although that's very impressive. Personally, what inspires me is when I watch somebody be raw. When they reveal everything. When they go full Monty. That's why we titled our website Full Monty Leadership, because Full Monty Leadership is not about a title. It's about tearing off everything else. I've said for years that my work, I give you strategies. You work with me, you reach out to me and you say, okay, I want to work with you, Dov. I want to step into my deep greatness. I want to own my purpose. I want to make a massive difference in the world. I'll help you. I can do that. I do that. I do that with individuals. I do it with organizations. I do that. But that's not about a title. That's me asking you, well, what is the mark you want to leave? What is going to make your life epic? What is going to make your influence epic? That's what I want you to leave with. Because when I watched American Idol and I saw those people being raw and real, they lay it all on the line. How often do you lay it all on the line? How often do you put it all out there where you could just be crushed? It's hard. It's hard. What will you reveal that might piss off a lot of people, offend some people? So you've got to look at that and decide. Well, maybe it doesn't matter to you, and that's okay. But if it does, you need to